Hey, how you doing? Name's Paul Godinez with Logix Magazine. Thanks for joining me today. So today I'm going to answer the 53 questions automation techs ask about the career. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So automation can be a very broad and a bit complicated for an industry. One would think, well, you get out of high school, you go to college, for electrical, mechanical, etc., and or even automation, and then you get out and you do that field. Well, that's not the real world case. You don't go to school generally and get a 4-year bachelor degree or trade school in automation, and then you come out and says 4-year degrees in automation. You merge your discipline or your experience into the automation career field. All right. So hopefully through answering these 53 questions, it will become more clear to you about the industry and automation career field. Okay. Hopefully we'll try and clear some of that up for you and answer a few questions along the way. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to kind of bounce around between the camera and the questions. So do you need a degree to get an automation job? No, you do not need a degree. I have applied for and had many positions and done many projects where they preference or even they kind of had a requirement, but because they were really hurting to get that slot filled, somebody with the right experience was hired. That was me. So I had the right experience and they hired me anyhow. Right now, there's a big need for skilled automation techs and engineers. And while they would like to prefer to have somebody with a degree, a lot of times you don't need a degree to get the job. So and you'll find out about that when you read the ad online, if that's where you're looking for it, and it'll say 4-year degree preferred, but that doesn't mean that they won't look at you. They would prefer, but you don't need a degree. Where can you learn to do PLC programming? Well, you can learn. There's a great guy, Phil Buchanan. He runs a program out of Atlanta, and he's got a great multi-day program in automation. Great in-person, hands-on. He'll walk you through the entire fundamental training, and he'll be there to answer any questions as you grow your career. Stephen Gates, he's got a great online training program, and it's a place where you can get a copy of the software license to practice. So RS Logix 5000, I believe 500 as well, and you can get that license for the cost of the membership and go through his training course. The real software license, not just a 7-day trial. But anyhow, you just got to configure it. It's myplctraining.com, I believe. Is a great place to go. Phil Buchanan in person. You can't beat that for in person. That is Key Automation Training down in Atlanta. All right. 2 places I would start with. Of course, you have Udemy. It's a very good place. Paul Lynn's got a great program, several different courses through there. I think it's really good. It's one way I got my start. All right. What do you need to know to become an automation tech? Well, in my opinion, you need a strong electricity background, some digital logic, mathematics, soft skills like Microsoft software, and PLC. Some PLC programming experience is a plus. And it really doesn't matter what the format is. To understand how to write code and use that code to generate an outcome, some sort of experience is a great starter, right? Now, obviously, if your only coding experience is PLC, then that's great too. But to understand what code means, how to use the interface, things of that nature, some sort of understanding of a platform is good. And so electricity, digital logic, mathematics, and soft skills like Microsoft Office to start with as a minimum. Can I learn PLC programming at home and get a job? Oh, absolutely. You most certainly can do it. It's just not easy. Okay? It's just not easy. You really need to have a good mentor. And if you go to talk to Phil or Stephen Gates and work with mentors like that, they can help you put together a great portfolio to go out and get that first entry level job. Okay, or you can go to logicsmagazine.com /coaching, and I can walk you through how to build a resume, portfolio, etc. Okay, so anything I can help, let me know. Do I have to know how to program to get a job in automation? You really don't, but it's much harder. So I would say you need strong industrial controls background, maybe have done lots of industrial controls and have wired up PLCs and remote IOs and things of that nature, and then having worked with a automation tech or engineer, it's a great way to get that to bridge that gap to like a level 1, level 2 controls engineer. So you don't and you do. Okay, they're not going to hire you with absolutely no experience and make you a controls engineer unless their level 1 is you're going to work with an electrician and they're going to spend time apprenticing you. Then that might happen. Generally, though, if they're going to hire you for it, they need somebody to do the job right now, today. All right, so it's good to get real world experience, build a portfolio, and demonstrate you know what you're talking about. Okay. What programming languages do I need to learn? Well, there are 5 common programming languages that come from a standard. It's IEC 61131-3. That's a programming standard. It means ladder logic will all essentially function and look very much a lot alike. But there's ladder logic, instruction list, function block, structure test, NC text, and sequential function chart. So anyhow, look into them. Start with ladder logic. Get a really good competency with one language before you move into another. It's really difficult to still be learning one and trying to learn another. Okay, I highly recommend learn one very well, then add another, and add another as needed. Unless you're just an eager beaver and you want to go out there and learn as much as you can, that's great. Okay, so lots of companies hiring automation techs. Oh, absolutely. And here's why. I got a job. I got a machine that's being run by 4 people. I hire in a tech or an engineer, and they'll take out three people right off the bat. And that could be a $40,000 to $60,000 per year cost savings to the company. So you are a leverage. You're a force multiplier. You can go in there and really streamline processes and by automating them and be a real leverage for the company's finances significantly. Every company would love to have somebody like you on staff. No question about it. Whether they hire you or not, irrelevant. You can look at a machine, find a way to automate that and reduce the cost. Period. There's virtually no machine you can't do that with. That makes you valuable. And a lot of companies do recognize that. All right. Let's see. Can I become an engineer without a degree? Now, that's different than getting a job without it. Can I become an engineer without a job? Okay. And yes, I've held the title engineer several times, still do. And but haven't finished my college degree. So you can hold engineering titles. Now, there's a big difference between being an applications engineer, for example, and being a licensed professional engineer. I could not hold a PE engineering position without the licensing. That's different. Whole nother level. Okay? Whole nother level. Cool. Okay, so what do automation techs actually do? Well, walk you through a few things. You may be asked to do CAD work. You may be asked to work with electricians and do the electrical. You may be asked to work with the design team, okay, and come up with putting together the design of a machine and how you, as a controls or automation tech or engineer, can contribute to that design. How you would, I might put the electrical box here, I might put this here, and you'll work with the design team. You may be field service. You may be going out on calls. You may be machine building. You may be doing that. You may be part of the sales team and speak to that. There's a ton of different areas that you could focus on. You may be part of project management. You may be one of 10 project managers, or you may be the only project manager. There's just really a large amount of directions that you could take the automation career field. Okay, hopefully that helps. Will I work on a team or on my own? As I just mentioned, it's up to the company and the job that you have. Sometimes you'll work alone. A lot of times you'll work alone, and sometimes you'll work part of a larger team. You may be part of a larger team and still work alone. All right. So, and I've done all of those different positions. I've sold, worked with sales, worked with project management, worked with electricians, worked with all of those different levels. So, you just never know. You never know. It depends on the company. All right. Do I need to know everything before I get a job? Well, that may seem, no, I mean, obviously not. A lot of people don't really know. How much do you need to know to get a job? Well, you don't need to know everything. You need to have a good, strong foundation. And how do you know that? I go to your mentor, ask several people who are professionals in the field already to take a look at your portfolio. Ask them if they think that you're ready. They're going to ask you some questions about your work, and then they'll tell you, and that's when you really know. Anything short of that is you're kind of guessing, you're hoping, and it could be very deflating if you're trying to get a job when you're really not ready. All right, so take your time and do the upfront work. Okay, are there on-the-job training opportunities? Absolutely. Absolutely. I would say if you get into a company that has controls engineers and machine building or whatnot, if you started with the maintenance team, and you got some offline training, went to some online training, I guarantee you that that company is the type of company to promote within. That they're gonna look at you and give you those opportunities to train in-house. That's not always the case, but some companies really like that. You want to just identify that that's the path you want to go to. But in the same token, companies don't advertise, hey, we're hiring somebody and we're going to do on-the-job training. It's sort of like an unspoken thing. If they think that you're worth investing time and money in and you're going to stick around, they may consider some sort of apprenticeship program. Maybe not an official one, but an unofficial one where you actually are developed through the levels. But companies, you got to think here, companies need to get a job done. That's their primary purpose. And what they're trying to do is fill that need. All right. So on-the-job training, sort of a hit and miss. I hope that helps. Can I wear nice clothes to work? Like a dummy. So there was a few times in my early days, I'd show up with a nice shirt and pants and then get stuck working with the engineers. And other times, I'd wear dungarees and I'd work in the office. You got to kind of play it by ear, kind of figure out what you're going to be doing from day to day and determine, am I going to be working on a machine? Am I going to work in an office? Am I going to be in the field? Am I meeting customers? It just depends. Often a nice polo shirt and nice, decent jeans generally goes a long way. You can fill a lot of roles in that way. Do I only do PLC programming every day? No, like I said, you may bounce around all over. In one given day, you may wipe up oil leaks underneath the machine. You may program, work on CAD, take phone calls and troubleshoot, get in your car and travel, or grab a bag, pack a bag and fly out all in the same day. You just never know. It really depends a lot on the company. How much does an automation tech get paid? So entry-level techs are anywhere from $17 to $25 an hour. 17's on the real low side. You're an apprentice electrician. You're really not doing programming. Generally, if you're doing programming at $17 an hour, you're hurting the industry. You're hurting us all. $25 as an entry level would be, I would think, very, in my experience, from research and personal experience, that would be a very good starting point. Somebody who knows some electrical controls, and has worked with electrician for a little while, but for whatever reason had to change jobs and bring it on. Then yeah, $25. I'd start them there, and then work at them at level 1, level 2 controls and automation level. So at that pay scale. All right. Can I get a job to do PLC programming from home? Yes, you can. Amazon is real famous for hiring programmers from home. Here's the thing that you need to be careful about. A lot of companies, they say, well, you're at home, you should be able to do 4 hours more work because it's so much easier because you're at home. Be very, very careful accepting jobs at home. What the expectation, the timelines, the pay. Companies, you just don't want to be taken advantage of just to be able to program at home. It's not worth it sometimes. It just isn't worth it when you think about, yes, you got cost savings, you a little more flexible hours, convenience of being at home, but it is a very difficult choice sometimes. If you have your family that's at home with you, if you're, got a stay-at-home order during the coronavirus, for example, or whatever, it's during the summer, the kids aren't in school, it can be very difficult to work from home. While it's appealing, just make sure you think through okay. Again, there are lots of opportunities. Not thousands, but there are definitely few of them out there. All right. So, will I get to travel? Again, that's a case-by-case basis. And a lot of companies, they may hire you to be a road warrior. You're on the road. So let me give you a little hint. A company may say you're going to be on the road 100% of the time. Generally, that's Monday through Friday. 125% of the time, you're out there almost 7 days a week. All right, 110, 120%. How do you do 120%? It's because they're tapping into your weekends. So there are lots of companies that will hire you to do that. When you do that, take this in consideration. You're probably going to be the sole person arriving. You're going to have to be the electrician, the expert at hydraulics and pneumatics, the mechanic, the programmer. You're going to have to do whatever the company needs, the client in your company needs to fill that role. So this role is generally something for somebody who's really got a lot of experience and ready to walk into a company that has a problem with their equipment and take on whatever challenge it is. So that's sort of the role. You can travel though. The other thing I wanted to comment about was it's not like you're on a holiday. You can't travel and then go see all the sites. A lot of the times I'd fly into a place, this happened 80% of the time. You wouldn't get to visit the sites that the city holds. Or you were going to be in a very remote space and it's 45 minutes or an hour and a half to the city. And by the time you get done with work, do that, get some sleep and come back, you're just not going to be ready to, you just can't do it. It's just unfeasible. That's happened to me 80% of the time. So travel's not the luxury. Flying in and out of cities, you get to see the airport. So I just want you to keep in consideration that travel doesn't mean vacation. If you keep that in mind, you'll do fine. Will the company hire me with online training experience only? Yes. Again, it depends on your portfolio and their need. If you can demonstrate that you have the competency to fill one of their need, then most certainly they will do that. Look, if you have a good portfolio and they interview you well, properly, and we'll do a video later on how to properly interview, then there's no doubt that they would, regardless of where you got your experience. Very rarely does it matter to them where you got your training. Just the fact that you can do the job. Can you do the job or can you not do the job? That is the factor. Now there's 4 main factors, 4 main phases in interview. We'll do another video on that. But keep in mind the fundamental point about getting the job is, can you do the job? Part 1. Okay. Phase 1. Can you do the job? All right. And the portfolio will help answer that. Should answer all of that. But between that and some questions. All right. So what are the types of automation jobs to get? Again, really depends on the company. You could work in instrumentation. You might work in controls, you might work with design, you may work with an electrician, you may work in management. It just depends. There's a large breadth of opportunities out there. All right. So it's really hard. But when you're out there job hunting, I would look into instrumentation, controls, electrical, engineering. Those types of firms and roles will fit well. Okay. Do companies hire beginners? Absolutely. They most certainly do. Without you getting experience, because when you're a beginner, it's like the chicken and the egg, which came first. Companies have to hire beginners, and that's okay because there's anywhere from 40 to 70% of the work that the senior engineers shouldn't have to do. They need to be working on high level stuff, tasks in their role, and leave the smaller, simpler stuff to the junior engineers. So absolutely, beginners have their place and their need, and it's a huge need. It's a big gap that beginners can help fill. Okay, how do I find a company that will hire beginners? Well, what you want to do is go online if that's how you're looking for a job, and you want to look for entry level. That's the best place to start. Entry level. But when you see that, what you're going to have to do is realize you may need to relocate to get that opportunity, to land that opportunity. But that's how, if I was you and I was going to look online, I didn't have any kind of a network, but I wanted to get into it as in the entry level or beginner, that's what I would do, is I'd look for entry level phrase in a job posting. Okay, so what are the typical types of tasks that automation techs do? Again, I've mentioned this a few times, but you're going to draft electrical prints. You're going to have meetings with clients. You're going to do programming, installing electromechanical devices. You're traveling to a customer site. You're going to troubleshoot machines and a whole lot more. Yes. Are there job levels in the automation career? Yes, absolutely there are. Now, that you will see on some advertising, they say level 1, level 2, level 3 controls. What I try to do is compare it to a black belt system. So white belt would be level 1, blue, purple, brown, black, 5 levels. Level 1, I did a video on this. I would say go back and look at the 5 levels of a PLC programmer's career. There's a video out there. Watch that. So level 1, you'll spend a lot of time in electrical, working with the electrical guys. Level 2, you'll do tasks that are, set IPs, download programs, debug some, verify that the electromechanical systems are all functioning and working, debug it a little bit. And you should be able to do, you're going to do a lot of tasks, just small things. You may help put the manuals together, do odd and end things. Now, level 3 is a 70%, solid 70%. 70% is the type of person that can do virtually everything, all the tasks, all the electrical, can do 70%, can do the 70% of a PLC program virtually off the top of their head. It's that 20-30% that deals with mathematics, different languages, complex data, moving a lot of data around. That's where they don't have the experience, enough of the experience yet. So that's where they struggle. Now, senior engineer level 4. Now we're talking about somebody 100% solid across the board. You give them a task, they're going to program it. It's going to look good. It's going to function. It's going to be exactly. And they're going to be solid at those more complex tasks, heavy mathematics, data, and multiple languages, right? Level 5. Level 5 is a team lead. They've got that 10 years. So we're looking at 0 to 10 years. They got 10, maybe 15 years experience. They can lead teams. They're going to work with multiple departments. They may own their own company. Level 5 is very, very solid. Okay. They have 10 years plus in experience. So white to black belt. That's the easiest way for me to explain to you, to give you that analogy. Look, a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but the problem is there's not really an industry standard. So I had to kind of go through based on my own experience, how would I describe it to somebody else? So that's the way I'm doing it. All right. Do females do well in this career? Absolutely. There's no reason. Matter of fact, women are more, a lot of times this job, especially in the field, can be very high anxiety. A lot of women I've met have a lower anxiety level They can be very analytical. And so it could be a very good fit. As far as being able to do the work, yeah, there's no physical barriers. There's no real reason why a woman couldn't do this task. Simple. So, and a woman can be very successful in this career. All right. I don't see a lot of women in it. I can only think of like 2 or 3 in 10 years that I've actually run into that's in the industry that I personally have run into. So, but they can do well. Is this a physically hard job? No, it's not. I would say, look, now here's the thing. There may be times when you're going to work long hours and you're going to perform manual labor, moving machines, drilling mounts so that you can put in the light bolts, and you may be using a lift truck to move stuff around. You may use hoist and jacks and loading and offloading equipment. So there's some labor to this, and you can put in long hours for installing a machine, for example. But overwhelmingly, it's not heavy physical labor every day. It's just on occasion you can put in some long hours and some manual labor. So I like to think that you definitely want to have a tough mental attitude, because as a professional programmer, for example, you're going to put in some long hours in hotels, for example, trying to hammer out some technical issues, or you may be installing a machine and you'll have to put in some long hours getting it installed. So just have some mental fortitude and you'll be fine. Are there promotional opportunities in the career? Absolutely. Like I said, you start at any one of the 5 levels and slowly work your way through them. I say it takes 0 to 10 years to become a really highly qualified and competent professional. People will disagree. Some will, some won't. But 10 years to get a real deep breadth of the automation career field. Do managers help you or just tell you what to do? That's a very good question. We all get into it and we're like, I don't really want to be alone because I'm new. So is there somebody who's going to be able to help me and teach me and coach me and mentor me along? And that usually depends on manager to manager. Every manager is different. I've had some managers that are completely hands-on. I've had managers that will look over my shoulders all the time. It just depends on the manager. So you should know, or you will discover which one works best for you. And here's the thing. I will tell you this much. Honesty is your best policy. If you don't know something, tell them or ask. Be humble, put your pride aside, and be honest and let them know what you do and do not know. You will screw yourself over and damage a machine or hurt your credibility because you're trying to protect your pride. I will tell you, it will be your number one cause of failure. Not so much that you're going to make mistakes, because no matter what anybody tells you, you're going to make mistakes. Okay? It's that you're trying to protect yourself and hide yourself and act like a little child, like you're hiding something in the corner that you don't want mom and dad to find. When you feel yourself feeling that way, that you want to hide it, stop. Create an open, trusting relationship with your manager or your leader, and be honest and open what you know, what you don't know, what you think you might need some help with. All right? And if you have somebody who wants to belittle you and berate you and doesn't support you, then you need to find a new opportunity. Period. I'm just being honest with you. That's how it's going to work. You need to get to a working relationship with a manager or a senior or a leader that supports your growth. And if you don't, find another opportunity. Period. That's my honest opinion. All right. Will I work on multiple projects or only one at a time? Again, every company is different. Sometimes you'll work on multiple projects. Sometimes you'll work on just one. I will say you'll find in time which one you'd like to do. I would recommend experiencing both, and then you'll discover which one you like both. Both have their strengths and weaknesses. All right, we'll talk about that another time. But do companies give you a test before hiring you? They should. And my only gripe is they don't do a good job at it. All right, one of the weakness about this entering in this career is that they do a really crappy job at hiring. All right. The people who hire you are rarely the people who know anything about the industry. They couldn't write a piece of code, one line of code if their life depended on it, but they're hiring you and expecting them to be able to determine if you know what you're talking about. So, the good is it makes it a little easier to kind of sneak your way in to a job opportunity that you're not qualified for. The bad is you're going to set yourself up for failure by accepting an opportunity that you're not really qualified for. All I'm doing is trying to be honest with you, all right? And if people don't tell you this, you're going to get yourself stuck in a very uncomfortable situation, and it's going to screw you up for a period of time of your life. You do not want to take on an opportunity that you're woefully inadequate for, because it's going to cause you a great deal of anxiety and grief. We'll talk about that later time, but do I need a certificate to prove I know how to program? No, you don't, but it helps. Whatever course or program you go through, complete the program. Number one thing about training programs is people don't complete them. If you work with my PLC training or you go down to Key Automation, do the whole course, take very good notes, maintain a good relationship with those instructors, get their completion certificate, and take pride in that. You've earned it. This is going to help you launch your career. It will change your life. Why would it change your life? Because it's going to affect your spouse. It's going to affect your children. And the quality of life that you give them will set them up to give their children a higher quality of life and their children. So what these instructors are giving you is the power and the ability to impact your life, your family's life, and your children and their children for generations to come. What they're giving you is a remarkable opportunity. Don't throw it away. Don't screw it up. Pay attention to what they're telling you. Maintain a good working relationship with them, and pick their brain. Pick their brain. These people, they give of themselves. They don't have to do this. They're giving of themselves. These people aren't getting really wealthy off of this. There's no stock market windfall off of this. It is contributing to their economics, but they're giving of themselves because that's who they are. So take advantage of it, learn it, get that certificate, put it in your portfolio. Okay? To me, it's really important. I'm passionate about this. So, all right. What tools do I need? Well, generally only hand tools for the most part. There's a guy, I think he's lower 48 on Pinterest or something, and he just goes through tools for electrical and controls, and that's his gig. But literally, a good solid fluke meter. No, here's what I recommend. Read the stinking manual. Take the online training course. Get that certificate at the end. Know how to competently use your meter. Okay? One of the most underrated tool that there is, and I've seen so many electricians who don't know how to use the entire tool. Okay? Very important. Hand tools, screwdrivers. Here's what I recommend. Buy good things and take care of them. Period. Don't buy cheap stuff. Okay? Not in this role. Look, if I was doing heavy millwright work, there's some tools you're going to break, throw away, lose. Some tools are meant to be low cost. In this role, buy good things and take care of them. Okay? All right. So next question, will I travel outside the country? You could. I would say this. If you don't have a passport, get one. Why? Because even if your personal life, international travel is becoming more and more common. And two, the last thing you want to do is be denied an opportunity to do a project outside the country because you have the timeline for you getting your passport is too short. Now, you'll hear all this stuff, and it happened to me when I flew down to Brazil. I had to rush through and get that passport. Set yourself up for success. Get it now. Okay? We'll talk about that another episode. But get it now and be prepared to fly overseas. At any moment, get ready and be prepared. Prepare your home life to travel overseas. I'm going to adjust this down a little bit. And that's just showing your employer that, hey, I'm ready to go anytime, anywhere. Where do you need me? You may get a call first thing in the morning. You may get a call late at night. You may get called at any time or point to jump on a car or jump on a plane and go somewhere to solve somebody's problem. You want to be in the right mental space to be able to take advantage of that, because then that shows the company you are a key player. You are a team player, and you're there to help the client. You're there to support the customer, and you're there to commit to your career. And you're going to do whatever it takes to get the job done. And that's the kind of mentality when a company sends you out, that's what they're looking for. Somebody that they can depend on, who's going to do whatever it takes legally, ethically, professionally to get the job done at almost all costs. What I'm saying is they know that you're going to commit and be professional to represent the company. You're going to support the client any way that they need, regardless of what it takes. You're going to maintain a good professional communication level. You're the company's representative, okay? And you may get further business from this company if you maintain a good relationship. And you may find that the challenge is way bigger than you had initially experienced. I'll give you an example. I went and drove to a client's job, and I was there like 2 days. 2 days? Yeah, I think it was 2 days. Stayed overnight. I had really dirty clothes because I had to climb underneath the machine to work on something, and it was the only clothes I had. And it was, snowstorm, and I had to get a hotel. None of that stuff was planned for. It was supposed to be in and out one day. Okay? I would be back in my bed that night. So things are going to evolve on site, and you need to be prepared for that to happen. Okay? Now, why do I bring this up? Passport is an extension of that. Be prepared to take on the challenge, to go anywhere at a moment's notice to get the job done. When you're overseas, you really are alone. It is all on you. All of it. You have the phone and some internet, but it's all on you. You've got to make it happen. Okay? All right. There's a lot of tools and resources for you when you're on the road. We'll do another video on that later on. But you have to accept the burden, the weight that it's on you. All right? So, do I need to know how to program a robot in the automation? You don't, but it helps, right? So I would say most certainly take some robotics programming. The biggest thing is get some hands-on somewhere to work on robots. All right? To get that experience. Every chance you get to take a robot out of the box, get it wired, get it configured, and do some programming, take advantage of it. Because it may be something you run into while on the road. Okay? Great. All right. What do I do if I get stuck troubleshooting a program? Okay, here we go. Again, don't fake it. Be honest when you get stuck. You can find a solution by reaching out to resources online and the manufacturer of a device if that's where you're stuck, or even from fellow engineers. Here's what you're going to do. I call it the black book. Begin to build and create your own little black book of online and offline resources, phone numbers, contacts. Talk to them ahead of time and say, hey, I'm going to be going in the field. If I get stuck, can I give you a call? And ask them if they would help support you in that way. That's in company and outside of company resources, all right? Put that black book together right away so you can go to it very quickly when you get stuck. Here's what I recommend, though, when it comes to troubleshooting. Give your best honest effort. When you do go to ask for help, ask yourself the 99 different questions that they're probably going to ask. Write them out and write out your answers so that when they ask them, or if you email them, you can email them the question or the answers of some of the more typical things they're going to ask. Imagine that you're having them build something over the phone that they have no idea what they're building, say with Legos, and you just tell them, okay, get a blue block, put it on top of the red one. Okay, now get another green one, but put it over 2 holes over. It's very, very difficult because they cannot see what you're talking about. Imagine you're in that type of situation and be very methodical about getting the information, compiling it, and sharing with them. It's very difficult to get support, and it's especially if they're not giving you the right info. All right, so we'll talk more about this later, but it's very difficult. Give them as much information as possible. Right, collect it all, and give it to them as early up front. All right. You can't send a one sentence description of your problem unless they are very, very familiar with it and expect them to be able to figure out all the other parameters involved. All right. So just be prepared. It just takes some time. You'll figure it out. All right. Are there cheat sheets, shortcuts, or templates to writing a program? Well, every engineer and tech who writes programs, creates processes, has created their own little cheat sheets or formulas or algorithms that work for them. I encourage you to do the exact same thing as you're going through your career. Now, you may ask for somebody and say, hey, do you got how do you write code for this? How do you write code for that? Can I take a look at it? And sometimes they'll offer that up. Or get it via a template or an algorithm that will work that they've used. Now, you have to look at it and say, does that make sense to me? Is that the way I would write the code? All right. Now, code writing is a lot like a fingerprint. Everybody's going to write code a little bit different. And that's okay. You just got to make it work so that it makes sense for you. All right. There's a lot of little details about that. We'll talk about that at a later time, but very important. Which robots do I need to learn? Well, I would say you got the ABB, FANUC, are probably the two largest. But then again, if you learn a couple different robotic systems, even one, you'll fare well with most of all the others. Most, but not all, because they're different languages. Some of the older ones are use C++. Some use Pendant. There's just a large variety. All right. Get some experience on a few of them if you can. At least one, FANUC or ABB, so that you have some familiarity with robotics. Okay. So what colleges teach automation? Well, there are a lot of them, and I recommend that if you want to read the article that I wrote for this, I'm kind of reading off here, go to logixmagazine.com. That's LOGIX magazine.com, and look for the 53 answers to questions new automation techs ask. And I have a list there of all the different locations you can learn automation engineering from. All right. So give you a little homework assignment right there. DeVry is one in particular. I think I'm just pulling that up now, one of the options. So DeVry has a electronic systems and automation degree specialization. So take a look at that. Go to DeVry for their electronic systems and automation degree. That's a good place to start. Okay. Where's the best place to learn automation online? Okay, so do you want my opinion? There's several different places. There's PLC University. There's myplctraining.com. There's Udemy. Those are some of the top places. I would say any one of those will work well for you. They're all, I know Paul Lynn's a great guy, really laid back cat. I think you can learn a lot from any of the resources, okay, of those three that I mentioned. Where can I find the best place for technical help online? Well, there are some of the best suggestions are Facebook groups and online web forums. So you got plctalk.net. There's more PLC groups on Facebook than I could ever even remember. So PLC and HMI programming for industrial automation. There's 400 people there. Industrial automation on Facebook. There's 23,000. World of Industrial Automation PLC, SCADA, DCS, all automation engineers, 21,000. Industrial automation, but the automation group is 11,000. So you can ask a question there and get a ton of support and help. All right. So just tons of those. Again, go to logixmagazine.com. and read the article, 53 answers to questions new automation techs ask. There's a link down there that has a lot of options. Or just go to Facebook and do a search for industrial automation groups. All right. Okay. Are there books that I can learn from? There are. I would go to Amazon and just type it in. There are. I would say you can get a lot of help from your software in the help files if you'll just take the time to read them. All right. I really think that's an underutilized resource. But what to do if I'm learning? What do I need to learn if I'm learning at home on a learning program at home? I would learn about the industry. I'd learn about, obviously programming. I would say learn electrical, reading prints, hydraulic, reading, interpreting prints. I would say a lot of these things right here. So interpreting prints, electrical, hydraulic, pneumatic, CAD is a great one. Programming, obviously. And then read about the industry. Okay, it's very important that you understand as much as you can about the industry itself. All right. What does it cost to learn the program? You're going to read a lot of stuff about free this, free that, free the other. Anything worth having isn't free. Okay, you're going to have to pay, and I would say you're going to try to break into. You're going to make a career jump into the automation career field. At bottom dollar should be $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 in that first year or two. I would say expect to spend, in your learning, building your profile, 10%. Okay, $6,000, $7,000. I would say, and people's going to say, "Oh, that's way too much." Well, and maybe let's assume that you don't spend as much in dollars. You're going to spend as much in time. All right, you're going to put a lot of time in. You're going to spend a lot of money. It's going to be one and or both. All right, between training, getting a processor, getting a computer, maybe buying some software, whatever it's going to take. I say you shouldn't probably have to spend more than 10%, but I say be prepared to spend a little bit of money. Now, a lot of people will say you can do it a whole lot less, and you can. I'm just telling you, you're going to spend some money. That's what I'm going to tell you. If you think you're going to get it, break into this career, make a career jump into automation without spending some money and do it all on free, you better have a very cheap mentor, somebody who's a friend who's going to teach you everything you need to know and get you access to the software for nothing. Other than that, it's going to cost you. Simple. So how hard is it to learn at home? Very, very, very difficult. And the reason is you got to put time into it. You got to commit to it. Simple. If you don't make the commitment, you don't put the time in, you're not going to learn. Simple as that. It's not about that it's really difficult, because if you try to learn something and you get stuck, go out, reach out and ask for help. However, it's sticking with it over a long period of time. That's where the challenge is. To know how to structure a portfolio, to know how to job search, build your network, all those things, that tends to be much more complicated. Finding a good mentor, very important. Very important. All right. Is there someone who can help me learn PLC program if I'm learning at home? Absolutely. I've mentioned it several different times. Here's where I'll make a plug for myself. Look, I have a coaching program, logicsmagazine.com/coaching. You can reach out to me and I can help you make a career jump into automation. But on top of that, you have guys like Paul Lynn. You have guys like Phil Buchanan. You have guys like Stephen Gates that you can take some of their courses, take some of their training, create a good working relationship, and you can ask them any question you got. You can ask them, all right, and they'll do their best to help you. I highly recommend them. All right. So, how long does it take to learn PLC programming? Oh my goodness, here we go. You know why this is important? This question is because everybody wants to know, how fast can I get into it? How fast can I get into the career? Well, you know what? If you think it should take a year or 6 months, it should take, if you say it takes 6 months in your mind, it'll take a year and a half. If you think it's going to take a year, it'll take 2 years. It's going to take much longer than you think, unless you have a great mentor who can walk you through all the particulars and make sure that you stay on track. But it's going to take a long time. This is not one of those things that can take a 12-week course and all of a sudden I'm going to be able to get a $60,000, $70,000 a year job. You can fast track it if you get in the right program. It could possibly happen, but it's unlikely to happen. All right. So be prepared to put in some time to build the experience, the knowledge, the skill set to be able, and the portfolio to be able to make your career jump into automation. As someone who went to college, better at programming than someone who learns at home? Absolutely not. It depends on the person and the commitment and, the mentor. If they have a great mentor in college and they really put the time in and the mentor is a real professional in the industry, then yeah, they could be great, but that doesn't mean that they are. Simple as that. All right. I've known guys who come out of college in the electrical field wanting to get into automation, could not network a computer to a controller. Didn't know how to do it. So, there you go. They had a basic understanding of logic, but that's as far as it went. All right. Do I need to be real good at math to program? Nope. But again, it helps. All right. Again, how do you get into that level 4, 100% role? You got to have strong math. You got to be able to strong math is going to help you in creating algorithms or code, how to prioritize your code and organize it. It sparks the brain so that you're forced to think at a higher level, which is going to help with learning new languages. And it's very important to understand have strong mathematics so that it can help you again think at a higher level when moving large volumes of data around. All right. So working with recipes, there's just a lot of value in learning mathematics. Do you have to be an expert at it? No, but you need to have solid mathematics. To make that level 4, you really need to have, even level 3, strong mathematics. Okay. So work at it. It's not complicated. Mathematics are nothing more than formulas. And once you learn the formula, you just do the math. And people say, oh, you got to write it out by hand nowadays. Even when I went to school, you had to write it out by hand. I'm going to tell you what, you write it out by hand, you're going to make a mistake. Grab a calculator. But a calculator is no good if you don't know the formula. How do you take these, how do you build an equation that produces a result? That's what it comes down to. What is the formula to build the proper equation in the PLC platform software that's going to give you the right answer? All right. So that's what mathematics does. We'll talk more about that in upcoming videos. But how many hours a week practice does it take to learn to program? I would say you need a minimum of an hour a day. A minimum. I'd say you really should be putting in 2, 3, 4 hours a day with a full-time job. Okay. And you say, how am I going to do that? I got a wife. I got the kids. I don't know how. You're going to do it. But for me, I would get up early. I would stay late. I would read during lunch. I would do whatever it took. I would put the time in. I'm shooting for 4 hours. I'm telling you to shoot 4 hours. You're probably not going to be able to find that time in a day with a full-time job. What I'm trying to tell you is every single stinking minute that you got, stop fishing. Stop going to the shooting range. Stop going to the movie. Well, you got to take care of the family a little bit. Go to movies. But my point is, all your extracurricular activity needs to cease and desist. That doesn't include being a part of doing things with the family. And this becomes your new hobby. This is your new passion. And that's how you're going to get good at it. Is you got to put that amount of time in. Period. There's just no shortcut to it. That's what it's going to take. All right. Let me lower this back down again. This thing keeps sneaking up on me. All right. So, okay. What do we got? Can I work anywhere in the world? Absolutely. You'll find jobs and opportunities all over the world for an automation tech or engineer. Period. I cannot tell you enough about that. Go online, you'll see what I'm talking about. I have subscribers to this YouTube channel and members in my network that are from all over the world, and I mean some unbelievable places they are from. So automation is everywhere. Okay, so what is the single best thing I can do to get a job when I'm ready? Portfolio. Build an incredibly strong portfolio. And here's the thing: if you try to just copy and paste somebody else's work and try to claim that work is yours because you didn't put the time in to learn the intricacies of that program, you might get away with it at first if you get interviewed by somebody who doesn't know how to interpret your work, but you're being dishonest with yourself. Again, you're hiding from what you don't know. You didn't do the work. It's going to bite you in the rump. Period. I just think you need to be honest and upfront. What you know, what you don't know. And here's the thing about getting bit in the rump. It's going to be epic when it happens. It won't be a small failure. You're going to have lots of little small failures being new. You're going to have an epic failure. All right. And you're going to cost a company a lot of time or money, or you could potentially hurt somebody. I'm just telling you, be honest, do it the right way, learn and do the work, and you'll do fine. But a strong portfolio, one that contains electrical drawings, maybe hydraulics, pneumatics, examples of your code, videos of any of your work, and tons of references and testimonials of your skill set. All right. So this is, man, we got almost an hour in this thing. So I just wanted to share with you and try to help you answer some of the most common questions that automation techs ask about the career field. All right, so my name is Paul Gnason with Logic Magazine. Look, subscribe if you're interested in making a career jump in the automation career field. If you find these videos helpful, subscribe. Hit the bell so you can get notified. And by all means, jump on over to logicsmagazine.com, and this article is posted there. And you can go there, send me any questions. Ask, you know what? If there's any questions I missed, put it down below. And I would love to add that to my growing list of questions. Put them down there. If you have a question, I'll answer it. All right? Love to help you out. This is Paul with Logic Magazine. Till next time, stay safe, my friends.